Welcome to the Augusta Baker Storytelling Experience, inclusion programming for children of all ages, otherwise known as AB Kids. I am Valerie Birdfort. My pronouns are she, her. I am an instructor for the School of Information Science at the University of South Carolina. I teach courses in children's literature, school libraries, and library programming, and I am so happy you are here. This series is named in honor of Augusta Braxton Baker, who was the first African-American coordinator of children's services within the New York Public Library system. She worked at New York Public Library for 37 years and then came to South Carolina, where she served as the library school storyteller in residence for 14 years. Before we get started, a few reminders. We are recording today's session. Make sure you are on mute unless you have a question or you've been asked to unmute yourself by the speaker. You can leave your camera on or turn it off. It's whatever you are most comfortable with. Feel free to participate in the chat. Kate and I will be moderating during the presentation and story time. And feel free to use reactions. Look for the smile face in your Zoom controls to find them. As mentioned, today's program is part of a series. Please visit the AB Kids website to register for future sessions and to explore and register for all Baker programming. The link will be posted in the chat. And we are honored this season to have members of Storytime Solidarity joining us along with their friends at Kidlit in Color.
Thank you so much for having us, Valerie. We're thrilled to introduce Tonya Abari. I think it's going to be just an amazing session to finish up this series. I'm so thrilled that she's going to be talking about, among other things, Dr. Augusta Baker, and we're just so thrilled to have been a part of this amazing series. We thank you so much for letting us be part of this legacy and for this opportunity. So take it away, Tonya.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Thank you for joining me this morning. I am thrilled to be here, and I am even so honored to be going at the last day in honor of the Augusta Baker, which I'm going to get into in a second. But I would like to just start off with telling you a little bit about myself. I am a former teacher turned multi-genre storyteller, independent journalist, author, editor, and book reviewer. My words can be seen in publications like Good Housekeeping, USA Today, Publishers Weekly, Zora, PBS Kids, Parents, and many more. I am the author of 2 published boards books, My Hair, My Crown, and Let's Celebrate Juneteenth with Mud Puppy, a picture book with the Innovation Press, Locks Not Dreads, and then the final 2 books that are coming your way soon, A Santa Like Me with Little Brown, Books for Young Readers, and a story of the 688, the predominantly all Black women battalion of World War II with HarperCollins in 2025. So I am just, again, thrilled to be here and to be honoring the legacy of Dr. Augusta Braxton Baker. And I wanted to just speak briefly about that before I hop into the story time. I encourage you to ask questions in the chat, and this is an intimate crowd this morning, so I would love to speak with you after the reading at the end and engage in discussion. But the Augusta Braxton Baker was born in Baltimore, Maryland in 1911, and it's no coincidence. I say I stand on the shoulders of my ancestors. I was also born in Baltimore as well. She was raised by 2 educators, and her grandmother would come home and tell her these amazing, amazing stories of Brer Rabbit and some of the African folktales that have been passed throughout generations. And so she was introduced to storytelling really, really, really early. And she fell in love with stories because it was through these stories, through these messages, that she gained hope, and she gained good lessons like, never give up, and follow your dreams, follow your heart. And so these were the stories that really shaped her and really created this love and passion of storytelling for her. And so she went on to, after university, to become a teacher. She thought because she loved books, she wanted to be in the classroom. I had the same path. I started off in the classroom, but it was there that I figured, I love teaching. I love the students, and I love interacting with the students and working with them. But I really love words. I really want to write. I really want to exercise and use my voice in that way. And so Augusta Baker, you know her biography, so I'm not going to get into it. But afterwards, she became a librarian, and she retired from the New York Public Library. But through her tenure, she really, really, really focused on amplifying African-American stories and Black stories. She really wanted to show Black children in a beautiful light across the spectrum, that we are joyful, and the things that we experience. She wanted to put that on a platform for Black children and Black families, because throughout time, we haven't always seen ourselves in books and seen ourselves in that way. And I have to admit that even when I was younger in school, I didn't have a lot of books that really showcased Black girlhood. And so here I am today, again, standing on the shoulders of Augusta Baker, who was a master storyteller and librarian. And I'm focused on providing those mirrors and windows into Black girlhood and all of the things and splendors that come with it. Okay, so as you can see too, behind me, I have a vintage. This is My Child. I don't know if any of you, this is really gonna tell my age, but 1988, there was a doll line called My Child from Mattel, and it was 1 year that they produced these dolls. And that was the first time that my parents had seen a Black doll in the stores, and a Black plush kind of like baby doll. And I loved playing with baby dolls. And so they bought me this doll, this My Child doll, and I have it, some a lot of years later, and my children even play with it. So this was, I had to put, her name's Kitty, and I had to put Kitty up there because Kitty also represents my childhood. Okay, so today I'm gonna read for you from two of my books, my board book and also my picture book. But before I get into the reading, I want to get everybody lathered up with a little bit of call and response. Okay, so if you don't know, call and response is a very, very an element that is particularly prevalent in African American literature and African American storytelling. And what call and response is a musical conversation between the storyteller and then the audience. And so it kind of helps to build a bridge. And because books are used as conversation, right? When we read books, we have thoughts about it, and we love characters, and we want to talk back to them, and we want to talk back to some of the things that we're hearing in the books. So what call and response is just really, really having a conversation with the art and with the storytelling. So I'm going to get everybody lathered up with just a little bit of call and response. I love to do this before I read any of my books. And so I know that the cameras are off and sounds off, but if you want to take yourself off mute to participate, I would greatly appreciate it in our call and response. And I'm also going to put it in the chat. The first thing is that I'm going to say Ife Tayo. And Ife Tayo is in the Yoruba language.
Morning, Mr. Small.
Oh, oops, sorry. Ife Tayo in the Yoruba language means love brings happiness, okay? And right now we could all use a little bit of love and happiness, especially with all the things, all the hard things, all the tough things that are going on in the world. And I find that our kids bring that joy, and they bring that love, and they bring that happiness. So I'm going to say Ife Tayo. And when I say Ife Tayo, I want you to respond back to me. Love brings happiness. So when I say Ife Tayo, I want you all to say, love brings happiness. You ready? Let's go. Ife Tayo.
Love brings
Brings happiness.
happiness.
Thank you, Ife Tayo.
Love
Love
brings
brings
happiness.
happiness.
Yes, one more time. Ife Tayo.
Love
Love
brings
brings
happiness.
happiness.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you all. That was perfect. That was perfect. And I just want to say that Ife Tayo, my daughter's name is Temi Tayo. That means worthy of joy and happiness as well. And the first storyteller that I heard live in Baltimore at my elementary school was Maria Broom, and she is a locally I say famous a storyteller, and she would come to our school, and she started out her program with Ife Tayo, love brings happiness, and all of the kids, we felt love, we felt joy, and it did so much for me. And I, if I could see her now, I would tell her that has become a big, huge part of my own storytelling, that message and sharing that call and response throughout my work as well. So thank you for participating in that. So I'm going to start off by reading my board book. Both of my books that are published right now have the themes of hair and celebrating hair for Black girls. But I just want to let everyone know, okay, can't see it. Let everyone know that this board book, My Hair, My Crown, this is for the youngest readers, 0 to 5, but can be enjoyed by everyone. And I think this might be my toddler's copy, so it might have spaghetti on some of the pages and might be missing a few. But we'll get into it. Okay, so My Hair, My Crown by Tonya Abari, and the illustrations are by the ever so talented Tabitha Brown. And she's also done my other board book, Let's Celebrate Juneteenth, which is in the background there. But My Hair, My Crown. Pearly waves that ripple and flow. Twin tails wrapped in bubbles and bows. Sectioned and twisted into spiraled knots. Strands that grow into regal locks. A full fro, bold and free. I think that's what I have today. A chic short crop. That's exactly me. A pattern of braids framing my face. 4 sweet ponytails perfectly in place. Pom-pom puffs, fluffy and round. A towering bun up high and proud. Ribbon tied style, half up, half down. My teeny weeny afro is a tiara, my crown. I love my hair and all the things that it can do. Now it's time to celebrate your hair too. And there's a nifty little mirror in the back. This one, ignore my note, I signed my child's book. But it is a nifty little mirror in the back so that our babies can see themselves at the end and celebrate their hair in all of its many forms. And so the back cover says, rock your coils and curls and celebrate your hair in all its magnificent glory. So this is the board book, and this published in 2021, I believe, or 2022. I don't think the years are all blending together at this point, but I think it's published in 2022, and it is. I have to say, it's one of my toddler's favorite books, and maybe she's a little biased because she knows that it's mommy's books, but Okay, so in between, I'm going to share like a few of our other favorite books that board books that feature Black girl protagonists. And these are not it. I could not find a lot of the books. They are probably under the bed and in corners and places that I couldn't find this morning. But I was able to pull some of the ones that recently we've been reading and that my children love because they see themselves in these books, and they also just enjoy the rhyme scheme and all of the things that come with these. So this one's the New Hair Love ABCs by Matthew Cherry. It's the board book companion to the ever popular Hair Love. We talk about a lot of hair in here. My mother was a career cosmetologist. And these are the books that I wish I had when I was my kid's age. Okay, Dream Big, Little One. This is Vashti Harrison, authored and illustrated, a board book, a nonfiction board book, just about the power of extraordinary role models in like Ella Fitzgerald, Oprah Winfrey, Katherine Johnson. So this is a great one, board book version of the picture book biography. My Baby Loves. We love this series by Jabari Asim. The first one is My Baby Loves Halloween, and I can't find that one. And it's coming up shortly, so I'm going to have to reach beneath of all of the things to look for it. But My Baby Loves Halloween, My Baby Loves Christmas. These are such joyful books by Jabari Asim and illustrated by Tara Nicole Whitaker that are just showing Black children enjoying holidays and enjoying their time with their families and being excited about holidays like Halloween and Christmas. And I think that's really important too, for mirrors and for windows, that people see us just living and existing and enjoying life. And then a favorite in our house is Shady Baby Feels, the Book of Emotions. This is also illustrated by Tara Nicole Whitaker, but authored by Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade. This book is a primer for emotions, and it runs the gamut. So Shady Baby here, she's happy, and then she's sad, and then she's nervous, and then she's brave. And we see all of these emotions, and it has helped immensely with my young one, who she does a little bit of signing, but when she is really having a hard time expressing herself, she remembers the emotions that we read in this book, and she's happy, sad. And so we love this. We love this fun book that also happens to just be very important in helping kids to understand their emotions and how they look and how they feel. All right. Okay, so I'm going to get into my second book, a picture book. This is the picture book that published on September the 5th of this year. Yes, Kate, yes, for every child. That's right, Mirrors and Windows. And so this book is titled Locks Not Dreads, and it's written by myself and illustrated by Chastity Hampton. Okay, we'll get started. One crisp fall morning, Stella was feeling herself. Glisten. Her slide was electric as she danced down the driveway. Stella's so happy. She's listening to her music. She's ready for school. And we love that fall weather. On the way to the bus stop, Stella pulled her thick rope-like locks into a high ponytail and smiled. She couldn't wait to get to school and show off her newly locked hair. Psst. The big yellow bus pulled up to the front of the school, and Stella quickly hopped off. But she slowed down when a handful of students began whispering and pointing to her hair. Hey, everybody, look at Stella's dreadlocks, a classmate yelled. Stella had never heard her family use the word dreadlocks before. And when Stella heard the word dread, it made her think of many hair-raising things. Suddenly, Stella's scary thoughts were interrupted by Principal Carver's arm on her shoulder. Words are powerful, Stella, but there's absolutely nothing dreadful about your hair. Still, Stella felt uneasy. Too many eyes were on her locks. In class, at recess, and even Stella's best friend, Britt, couldn't stop taking her eyes or stop staring at her locks during lunch. That afternoon, Stella wasn't feeling herself. Her legs were heavy as she climbed the hill home. Oh, I just adore your dreads, shouted her neighbor, Miss D. Thanks, but is there something dreadful about my hair? No, baby, your hair is big, bold, and beautiful, said Miss D. Stella appreciated Miss D's praise, but she wondered again, is there something scary about my locks? Stella made her way through the front door and into the kitchen. Nana Pearl was retightening Daddy's locks with coconut oil and berry pomade. It smelled like tropical trees and candy. Straight fire. Pull up a chair, Stella, Daddy said. We're just reminiscing about your brother's locks when he was your age. Jeremy's hair was so full and long, it couldn't even fit under the largest baseball helmet, Mama added. Coach sent a letter home asking us to shave off Jeremy's locks. And I won't read the letter, but that's the letter right there. Asking the parents to shave off Jeremy's locks, asking his grown-ups. Stella thought about Miss D and the comments and stares at school. Is there something terrifying about our locks, she asked. Of course not, Jeremy responded. Our locks are amazing. Our locks are delightful. Our locks are magical. Then why would people use a word like dread to describe our hair, asked Stella. Well, there are many stories behind the origins of locked hair, explained Mama. That's right, echoed Nana. Locks have been worn throughout history, but some say that long ago, warriors locked their hair to put terror into the hearts of their enemies. Others say that dreadlocks was a term used by the people who were afraid because they never saw locks before. And some, who even called themselves dreads, believed that wearing locks reflected a deep respect for the Almighty. And that's why we wear our locks with pride, Daddy said. The strength of our ancestors lives in each strand, no matter what anyone calls them, locks, dreadlocks, dreads, our hair is liberation. Stella looked at her family and paused. Well, did you do it, Mama? Did you shave off Jeremy's locks? Absolutely not, Jeremy jumped in. We pinned them down under my helmet and I was back in the batter's box in no time. Now it was all starting to make sense. Locks aren't dreadful at all. Stella couldn't wait to go back to school and floss her beautifully locked hair. The next morning, she was feeling herself. Flawless. She pranced through the front door with a pep in her step and marched down the driveway, spirit soaring above the clouds. On the way to the bus stop, Stella made sure her newly sparkly charms were in place. The big yellow school bus pulled up to the front of the school and Stella jumped off. Britt approached Stella and tapped her on the shoulder. Hey, Stella, I wanted to tell you yesterday that I really love your locks. Stella raised her head high. You really love my locks. Britt smiled. Yes, I really love your locks. Stella was definitely feeling herself now. They are pretty fierce, aren't they? And then I have a note to the reader in the back, but I won't read that. But the end. So I would love to, we have a few more minutes left, but I would love to open up the floor for any questions and engage in any conversations that you may have about either one of my books, the process, or why it's important that we celebrate ourselves and celebrate ourselves in books, and these books be used for mirrors and windows.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is that the Tabitha Brown, like the Tabitha Brown, or is there another illustrator named Tabitha Brown?
It's another illustrator, but
Okay.
everyone thinks it's the Tabitha Brown, so that's been helpful.
Yeah. Well, I was looking because I wanted to include a link right online, and I think how the internet works. I do believe like some websites, when you click on the Tabitha Brown, it does go to like the vegan cookbook Tabitha Brown.
Yes, it is an illustrator who has been contemplating, I think, has a middle initial, but has been using her full name since forever. So she's like, well, I'm not changing it. And I don't blame
that's
her.
Awesome. And I think I did find her as well online. So I'll make sure that link is included to the artist. And then also, I love the book that you just read, Locks Not Dreads. It's so important because especially when thinking about dress codes and things, and that's something that a lot of times we do here is just conversation about hair and how it applies to dress codes, which is sad and ridiculous.
It is. And I in the back of the book has a beautiful back matter. Right now the Crown Act is trying to get in every state passed some legislation that's anti-discriminatory against hair discrimination. Our hair, black hair, grows out of our head in a certain way, and locks is a cultural hairstyle that has nothing to do with school or professionalism or any of those things. And so, and even to this day, we just had a student in Texas that was suspended for a few weeks because he was wearing locks, and they just passed the legislation in Texas as well. So we want to make sure that our styles and our cultural things are celebrated and not looked at as something that is harmful or in the way of our education or working or any of those things like that. So I do have a very, very back matter that goes into just questions that people would have about locks, and then also just like what it is that we're trying to do to work towards in terms of making sure that this is acceptable, because this is who we are. It's a part of who we are.
Exactly.
Thank you for asking that. And while we're waiting on a second question, I just want to also flash some of my other favorite picture book titles. I forgot to share them as well, so I'm just going to flash them up on the screen that also just highlight Black girl magic, that have Black girl protagonists and really put girlhood on full display. So I'm just going to show some titles and flash, as I'm hoping to get one more question.
I have a question for you. I love that you're sharing all these too. I'm going to reach out to see about doing a vlog together for Storytime Solidarity about these amazing titles. But one thing I get is like people kind of get that children need books that look like them. But do you have any tips for helping librarians and educators encourage every family to read these books, no matter whether they look like the people in the books or not? These books are for everyone.
Yes, absolutely. And that's right now, books are on attack. And I think the importance is the important fact that we need to take away from all books is that they're a learning experience, not just for the characters in the book that maybe look like yourself. It's important to read books from people who don't look like you or don't have the same background, so that you get a glimpse, you get to see a peek into maybe a different lifestyle or different culture that's not your own. It helps to build our humanity. It helps to make us aware, and that awareness is what fosters love and fosters togetherness and community across the board. And a lot of the themes that are in books, period. And I was taught when I was younger, because unfortunately, I didn't see a lot of books that, where the characters look like me, but I was taught, and I really internalized this from my teachers, is that you can find something in every book to connect to. You can find a character or a theme or just a world that is a part of your world in every single book, like no matter which one you pick up. So I think that that's an important takeaway for librarians, educators, and the librarians and educators. You all are already doing the work. Like, you're amazing. You're saving reading because librarians and educators know that this is the case, and we know too, is as a former English teacher, that one of the strategies is connection and connecting. One of the most important reading and strategies that you can have in not only your personal life, but in the classroom, and as you learn, learning how you can just connect with a book in any type of way. And I'm even reading the comments in the chat, and we have some connection that doesn't have anything to do with skin color, but with, hair. Okay, my spouse has big, curly hair, and I think that they can find joy in learning to love those curls and appreciate the pattern of their hair as well. So again, it's just about making a connection and making a human connection, because we're all human, and we all, at the end of the day, we all cry tears, and we all have blood, and we all have the same things. And so it's important to find that commonality and that connection within our books. It's very important, yes, that we need to see the full spectrum as mirrors, but we also need to see these books as windows as well.
Well, I can't help but think of your story about the children who get in trouble at school for hair, and that if those educators had read these books when they were children, they would probably treat those children better. So, I mean, these books are going to continue resonating for people's entire lives. And it's so important that even starting from board books, books that people haven't traditionally paid that much attention to, that we are embracing the beautiful diversity of the human experience.
Yes. And like you said, board books starts early. Readers are born on the laps of their grownups. And so it's important that even, when they're babies, I try to tell, like, all of my friends, I give books away. I start libraries when folks are having baby showers and, welcoming new life into the world. That's my gift. I give the gift of reading. And I tell the parents, please, and I encourage them, read with your babies. Like, they are soaking the information in. It may not seem like, they're too young to understand, or they're too young to know. The information is getting into their brain and they are enjoying the images and the pictures. And even if, they're not sitting still or they're running around, like we all know that toddler life, they are all over the place. But, I still read a lot, 20 minutes a day is recommended for the babies at least. But yes, at any age, if these books are read and they are discussed as a conversation, they're conversation starters too. You can talk to your family about these books and have conversations in terms of what do these books mean? What do they mean to you? What do you have friends that may be going through this? Like, there's so many avenues and ways that we could use books to discuss and to have conversations. So absolutely. And even the board books, we love board books. Board books are like a secret, like, favorite for me. They have my heart.
two things I just want to jump in on about giving books as gifts. Like, that's incredible. We do that too. And Kate, when I first got to know Kate, she'd written a beautiful blog about like, when do you buy books and when do you get them from the library? And when you're getting a gift is a great time for when you buy, you buy the book, you get them from the library and you read them and you know about them from that way. But then when it's time for presents, you buy those books, your favorites from the bookstore. So Kate, I think you need to revive that blog post. That was a brilliant.
I think you're right, especially before the holidays, encourage people. And I want to encourage people too. There's beautiful books from all time periods, but right now the authors that are getting banned and hurt are living authors. So what I've been encouraging people to do to support diversity in literature is whenever possible, support living authors, especially because children's worlds are so immediate. They really resonate more with the newer books too. So it's a win-win.
Yes.
And then I wanted to jump in on the Crown Act. It's not just for Black people. It's like a great, amazing thing for people. My spouse and I have both experienced hair, I will not say discrimination, but negativity for having like not the usual hairstyles that you see on white people. And but my spouse did actually educate himself on the Crown Act because he was getting so many horrible comments at work when he let his hair grow natural that we were like thinking about going to HR, and eventually he just shaved his head, which I think is like the saddest outcome. But if more people know about the Crown Act, like it can help all humans, right? Like all humans need to know about it. So thanks for reminding me. And we should maybe Kate also do a blog, when we get Tonya to do our blog post for us, maybe we can include
no pressure.
Crown Act.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is, across the board, like employers, HR departments, they need to understand, when you think about it too, it's like, okay, it's hair, it's hair. How do you judge a person based off of, like the physical attributes? We're trying to divest from that. Like we are judging people for the wrong things. It has nothing to do with your performance at work, your personality, who you are as a person. They are strengths. They have history. Our hair has, tells us about our DNA, and those are important things. But it's also that, it goes beyond the strands, and to say that beyond the strands, like I'm a human being. Like you don't have to judge me based on what you see or based on my hair, because it doesn't look like whatever the status quo is or whatever you think looks professional or appropriate or not. That's an opinion. So tell your husband to grow his hair back.
I do.
Love it.
You said so too.
Yes. I'm all for individuality, right now. And I guess, a couple decades ago, we're running, and I don't know how old you are, but these were things like when I went to school, when I was an undergrad too, that I was really discouraged about. I remember like about to lock my hair in undergrad, and I had a professor that said, no, you're trying to enter the job market, you don't want to have that hairstyle. And I'm like thinking, now I think back to it and I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like that's absolutely absurd. But it happens, and it has happened. But we want to make sure especially through books, that it doesn't continue happening. And that and it starts with, our kids and our young ones. They are, they're learning they're going to be our age, and they're going to be like, no, I learned about this in a book. I learned about how to stand up for myself, how to love myself, and how to appreciate myself as I am. And everyone else is going to have to do that too. So, and then also, the main character has agency to, because we talk a lot about words and what they mean, and the denotation versus the connotation of words. And so the main character is struggling with, okay, this word is not what I think, it means. I know it means something else, but it's not what I think. I think it sounds pretty scary. And so I'm going to I'm going to orchestrate the agency to say, I don't want to call it that. Like, I want to call it something else. And after knowing the history and talking to our family about it, she still makes the choice to say, I just prefer if you say locks. I prefer that. And it's no problem if you call them dreads or dreadlocks, if that's a part of the history and that's what you want to do. But for me, I think I want to call them locks because I feel like it's nothing scary about my hair. So I think that the conversations of giving children and letting children, not letting them, because they're borrowed, for us. They're their own people. They're human beings. They're just little human beings, but letting them or giving them the agency to have that space to be able to make those kind of decisions is really important. And again, it's beyond hair because it could be for anything. But the fact that we listen to children and listen to what they think and listen to how they process things and respect their decisions, I think is really important too. Yes, as a society, we need to better honor the words people want to use for themselves. Absolutely. That is 1000% true.
And I really liked that her friend stumbled but got it, because that's how we all do, right? We don't get things perfect, but we stumble towards a better understanding and being kinder. And you really modeled that. There were definitely universal elements in a very specific story.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. This was a wonderful sharing of stories and discussion and conversation. And I appreciate all of you for coming. I appreciate you, Tonya, so much. And Kate and Storytime Solidarity, Kidlit and Color, and everyone trying so hard to make this world better for our little humans and for our big humans too. And this has been a wonderful Augusta Baker AB Kids series too. So thank you all so much. And I hope that you can come back and join us again next year. Thank you.
That would be beautiful. Thank you for having me. And thank you everyone for coming and your beautiful questions and participating in the call and response. I had a lot of fun this morning. Thank you.